G'day. You're receiving this with an email and a document I'm sending to you about a request I've personally received from the Baptist Union to consider being the mission director for Tasmania for 3 days a week instead of the 2 days a week that our church initially wrestled through and offered to allow my name to go forward for. As I've wrestled through what this request means for me, for our church, and talked with our elders and trustees, Leanne and I both feel as though it is right for me. We would like our name to be able to go forward, but we also understand we are employed by the church. Now, as part of this, you need to understand this is my desk, and I'm not planning on moving desks anytime soon. In the document, you'll see that there is actually, as we plan it out, a couple of days a month where I'd be up north on a Tuesday and Wednesday, and then one weekend a month I'd be away, which is the same amount of time roughly that I was expecting to be away if I was to take the job on for 2 days a week. We've wrestled through what it would mean here locally. I think for me, what I am so grateful for, and I see what God is doing in our church, is there's a whole bunch of people sort of stepping into leadership. We've always said that church is something we do together. It's not completely dependent on the pastor. But this would take it to a new level in some ways. And I'm also conscious that our church has been through this before, where a pastor moved to be the state leader and the church felt like it missed out. What I've heard from our leaders and those who were here at the time is our church is in a very different place than it was then. We have quite a different leadership team than we had then. And I'm also a different person than the former pastor was. So my sense is that it's going to be okay, but this is a question for the church. This information pack, or this page and a half I'm sending you with this email, outlines some of the what it would look like for our church, and hopefully gives you a bit of an idea about what this means and what it doesn't mean. What it certainly doesn't mean, and what my hope would be, is that you would still have me as your senior pastor. I love our church. I love the people in our church, and that love isn't really, the longer I'm here, the more I am committed to being here. So my preference would be to be able to continue in this role for the 2 days a week, knowing that it'll never be as simple as 2 days a week and 3 days a week. What I've communicated to the state and to our leadership team is if there's a crisis in the church, I will need to be here completely focused on the church. If there's a crisis in the state, it might mean that I'm away for a week. But generally speaking, what it will actually mean is that I'll go from a discussion about the state to a discussion about the church. And my time would really roughly be divided up 3 days a week towards state things and 2 days a week to church things, but it will never be as simple as that. It'll be based on what is needed. So the document that's associated with this email is there. Leanne and I actually, to be honest with you, I have really grown in my appreciation for and love for the churches, the Baptist churches in Tasmania. We've got some really special people in this state. And I think part of Citywide's story is to be a resource for the bigger Baptist movement, and even broader than that. So I feel like if it's right for me to take this on, it's not just me taking this on, it is our whole church. And I think that's always been part of our story. There's a bunch of other exciting things happening, but I just wanted to let you hear it from me personally. It's why I'm recording it like this, and I'll embed this in the email that you receive with the document. I'd value the chance, if you've got questions over the next couple of weeks before the AGM, to talk to you about it. Please feel free to talk with our elders or our trustees, all who've been part of this discussion and who have voted unanimously to put the proposal to the AGM with a sense that it's right to explore it. Also, as what you'll see in the document is that this is for an initial 6-month transition. I would be, if the Assembly voted me in as the mission director, I would begin the day after that Assembly and would be then in a 6-month transition with Stephen Baxter, where I'd be kind of the incoming mission director, and then I would take on the role fully at the October Assembly. And that 6 months gives us a chance to see how it would all work and see whether the timings and that kind of thing work. So it'll also be a bit of a probation trial transition period that I'll largely be using to talk to other churches and get a sense, a better sense of the Baptist Union in the state. So that's certainly, as we talk with our leaders, the sense is that 6 months gives us a bit of a buffer just to see whether this is going to work or not. But would value your input, value your questions, and thank you for trusting me as your senior pastor for the last 7 and a bit years, and hopefully look forward to being with you a lot longer. So value your input, and please feel free even just to shoot me questions by email. But we encourage you to talk about this with trustees or elders or Dan or I or Pastor Paul or anybody who's part of the leadership team. Thanks.